I have to get, I gotta get my video set up. I can't do that with you on my lap. Oh, we're gonna. Okay, welcome everybody to the next episode, should I say, in this really good series for it's our library series event on renewable energy. Our host tonight will be Brian Pinky. Is that right?
Pink like the color.
Okay, great. Pink like the color. And this one is called Leave No Trace. Brian, take it away.
Awesome. So for everyone who's here, thank you for coming. Just so you are aware, I will be kindly asking for a lot of your participation throughout if you're so willing to do so. Otherwise, I guess I'll just be very quickly ending the presentation early. So we'll start out with a little bit of me talking. Do you guys not? Nope, that's not what we want. That should be good, right?
Yes, perfect.
Cool. So, leave no trace, what it is, why bother, and both further steps, sort of. I'm presenting on behalf of the New Jersey Watershed Ambassador Program, AmeriCorps, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and the Parsippany Green Team. I've been asked just to say a quick little thing about the Green Team. So they are heavily participating in the Sustainable Jersey group, which is a state program encouraging renewable energy, encouraging environmental friendly actions throughout municipalities throughout the state. You get points for doing certain different things, and they add up to, I guess, awards. And your township can be awarded bronze, silver, or gold. The Parsippany team is going for the gold. There's only one or two teams that currently have it at the moment, and Parsippany is aiming to do so with a heavy focus on energy and renewable energy in particular. So a little bit more on who I am. I'm a New Jersey Watershed Ambassador. I graduated from Lafayette College in May 2019 with a degree in geology and a minor in environmental science. You can see me on the left here out in Wyoming during my field mapping course on structural geology. And then we've got some pictures here of me in the stream and identifying some markers. I am not a leave no trace master educator by any means. So for those of you who came here tonight expecting to dive into the nitty gritty of leave no trace and come away with all these little specific do's and don'ts, that is not what we are doing here. I promise you that you can find that very easily with a quick Google search and potentially joining classes, and then you will have all the information you've ever wanted. So I am here on behalf of AmeriCorps. That is a federally funded program for adults like myself to get things done throughout the country. And we do that in a myriad of different ways. I am doing environmental service here in New Jersey, part of the New Jersey Watershed Ambassador Program. So basically, there are 20 watershed management areas in New Jersey, 20 watershed ambassadors, one for each area. And we act as informal educators, event planners, and a free resource for the community. We do presentations like the one that I'm doing here for you today, projects, stream assessments, and all with the goal of raising awareness of how human activities can affect water quality, the environment, and protect our waterways. We want to engage people like you in sustainability. So real quick, what is a watershed? It's an area of land that drains into a body of water, such as a river, lake, stream, or bay, and it's defined by regional topography. So any water droplet or snow precipitation that lands on this side of the topographic elevation boundary is going to flow downwards via gravity into the streams and large river below. But if there's water that falls on the other side of this mountain, it's going to flow away into a different watershed. This is one watershed, and over here we might have another. And the watershed involves the entirety of the land in that area. So the farm, the forest, the city, the town, the factory, the wetlands, all the things you see here are part of the watershed. So it's really everywhere that we are, and we should do things to take care of our land and our environment. I am the ambassador for Watershed Management Area 6, which is the Rockaway, Whippany, and Upper Passaic River watershed. Parsippany is located here within that area, and that puts us nicely on the Whippany River watershed. There are little parts that are up in the Rockaway, but we're mostly on the Whippany there. Here's another map of where we are. You can see that we're in the Whippany, but we're pretty close to the Rockaway as well. And I like to point out that the Rockaway, Whippany, and Upper Passaic connect into the Lower Passaic and eventually make their way out to the Newark Bay. So everything we do actually impacts everything down below over here, and we're part of the greater Passaic River Basin, which includes all of these rivers and goes up into New York. In the vein of leave no trace, which is respecting our land, I'm actually going to do something I've never done before, which is a land acknowledgement. It's something that I've heard a lot about very recently. And basically, the idea is that we, the people that are here, were not the first people that settled this land. We actually came in here and forcibly removed the people that were here prior to us. And up in North Jersey, Parsippany, that was the Munsee Lenape tribe, Native Americans that were here before us. So it's good to acknowledge that we are on their land, and everything we have done has impacted not only the environment, but them as well. So we're here to talk about Leave No Trace, and I want to know what it means to you. So this is where I was hoping all of my wonderful participants would be willing to participate. I was hoping that if maybe you guys didn't want to talk, you would all go to this link that I have here, whether on your phone or on the computer, and we'll actually be able to use this platform throughout my presentation tonight to communicate and share all of our ideas. So right now I'm actually going to go.
Do you want us to talk or not talk?
So I was hoping that you guys would go to that link and participate
Oh,
through the
okay.
link. I'm
Thank
actually
you.
going
Okay.
to share in a different way.
We're going to put it in the chat then.
Right. So what we're looking for is this link. I'll put it in the chat. How can I find the chat? Here we go.
It's at the bottom.
There you go.
Yep, there you go. I think everybody can probably see that.
So the first question I've got for you all is, what does leave no trace mean to you? And this way, no one has to feel self-conscious. You just type it in and we can all see all of your different answers here. We've got 3 people so far. Be awesome if we get a few more. If you're finding that this isn't for you, I am happy to have you guys unmute and talk instead. So we've got leave it the way you found it, keep land and water as clean or cleaner than you find it. Looks like we have one more person in here. I don't know if they're working on their answer. There we are. So don't disturb anything. Don't take anything. Don't leave anything behind. All really awesome answers. Doesn't look like we've got anyone else joining at the moment. Does anyone want to speak up if they have any thoughts or ideas to share?
Sure. I think it has to do with leaving no carbon footprint at all. Just there's nothing left once you go somewhere and then come back. You leave nothing, no carbon footprint at all.
Yeah, I absolutely love that answer and all the answers that everyone chose to share. Leave no trace is, it's an ethic. It's a way that we choose to interact with our land. And in particular, we've broken it down as a society into 7 main principles. I was hoping that you guys would either in the chat or out loud just kind of voice what you thought the first principle here in the picture might be. I've provided some hints at what these are. So right now we've got 2 people deciding to walk into over a river. So that's kind of the hint to what it might be. I don't know if anyone has any ideas.
Um,
How about education, signage? My daughter in California is a graphic artist and she does the signage for the park system there in the watershed. And she's very busy doing that, educating the people and taking them out, showing them what should be.
that's a good
really
one.
cool.
And Holly wrote, stay on marked trails.
Yeah, motel, that's a good idea. And that's really true. We do want to stay on our marked trails. That is a very important part of leaving no trace, and it's part of being prepared to go out there. So we want to plan ahead and prepare for what we might face, whether it's on our walk in a neighborhood or going into the backcountry of our parks that are around us. You don't want to show up and have to cross the river and not have the materials or equipment that you need to do so. But you also want to make sure you have all your water and all the gear you need, because if you're not prepared, you could put yourself in danger, and you can also have a far greater impact on the environment than you might otherwise have had. Then we have the next picture in the middle here. Looks like our hiker is hiking on the path, and that path looks like a good path to walk on. Does anybody want to take a stab at what the specific principle might be?
Holly wrote, don't go alone is a good tip, but not really leave no trace. But her point is,
Okay,
don't hike alone, I guess.
right. So this is actually a person who's hiking on a durable surface. And you want to remember that you always want to travel and camp on a durable surface, right? Because if you step off the trail and step on some biotic algae that could be easily disturbed, or you camp on a surface that could absorb water, you might end up disturbing the environment more than you otherwise would want to. Are you guys actually seeing this here?
Yes,
You
I
are.
can see it.
I'm
I think
sorry
everyone
about
else
that.
can.
Let me
think,
That's better, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
cool.
think everyone else can see it. If you can't see it and you want to raise your hand and let me know.
So now we have our third principle. Looks like we have a whole bunch of plastic bottles. I feel like this one's a pretty simple one to guess at.
Don't litter. Holly said, don't litter.
Yeah,
Um,
don't litter. Dispose of waste properly. Pack in, bring what you're gonna bring, but pack it out. Don't leave it behind. Then we're gonna move down to the left here. You see some sand and a single blooming grass, basically. I don't think it does the best job hinting at what we were talking about. So I'm just gonna got a chat going. Don't dig up plants. No picking, right? Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. Leave what you find. So don't pick up your plant, don't pick up your grass, but also if you know there are rocks, they're really cool specimens. Leave it there so that other people can enjoy it. It's part of the habitat that's there. So we want the environment to enjoy it, and we want future visitors to enjoy it as well. Don't go on the plant. Don't take the plant. Don't pick them. Now we have a guy with the bonfire going. So follow fire safety rules. That's right on track. We want to minimize campfire impact. If there's already a fire pit set up, don't set up another fire pit. We want to try to minimize that range. And then we also want to make sure that we are localized and not burning fire that could spread into the entire forest and damage the entire area. So yes, use fire rings as well. Move on to the sixth principle. We have a guy looking at a bear. Don't feed or play with wildlife. Exactly. We want to respect our wildlife. Make sure that we're not harming them. Make sure that we're not agitating them. But also, just let them be. This is where they live. We don't want intruders in our house. They don't want intruders where they are. And then finally, we have this last one over here. In some ways, I think that one of the more important ones. I want to make sure that we're sharing the path when running or biking. We want to be considerate of others, right? We don't want to crowd their space. We want to respect their space, respect that they're on the trail. Make sure that they know you're coming if you're running or biking. Shout out, let them know you're there. One really important thing that I find that doesn't get followed often is that if someone's hiking up the trail and you're going down, stand to the side. Let the person who has the rhythm climbing up, who's working hard, go past you. Don't cut them off, So that is quite honestly the deepest I'm going to go into the specifics of Leave No Trace. As I said, you can get really gritty details on the internet. And if you're looking for that, I recommend doing that or taking a class. But I do want to quickly talk about, the history of Leave No Trace. How did that come to be? Well, one day, settlers went out and found the canyonlands of the United States, the Joshua Tree National Park, Yosemite, went to Antarctica, explored all these beautiful places around the world, and instantaneously we all decided we were going to have a shared ethic of Leave No Trace, and that's how we got there. No, I'm just joking. More often than not, we actually went to all these beautiful places and completely disregarded all of the Leave No Trace ethics that we just discussed. But I think you guys would agree with me that we should be trying to protect these places and let them be enjoyed by people in the future. So what really happened is that back in the 60s, there was a lot of backcountry backpacking happening, and they sort of realized that they should do something to begin to protect the wilderness areas. So they started Leave No Trace camping in designated wilderness areas. By the 70s, we had some educational brochures and slogan-based programming. And then in the 80s, the United States, the USDA Forest Service formed a No Trace program in cooperation with a bunch of different bureaus, and they developed the Leave No Trace land ethics pamphlet. By the 1990s, we had the National Outdoor Leadership School teaching a master educator course. That's one of the things that I've been discussing. If you're really interested, go for it. Those are some awesome programs. And Knowles is really at the leading edge of that. We had a outdoor summit in '93, and they recommended the incorporation of a nonprofit called Leave No Trace. So Leave No Trace is actually a corporation, it's a nonprofit. And everything that we see from the 93 till now is co-sponsored by that incorporation. They partnered with a bunch of different organizations to spread the message. Subaru partnered with the different governmental organizations, Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Fish and Wildlife Service, and National Park Service. And then they also partnered with REI. So REI also has a bunch of awesome programs that you guys can check out if you're interested. Then in 2003, Leave No Trace rebranded as the Center for Outdoor Ethics, because even though we have our 7 core principles, they are all based on the ethics of how we humans feel we should treat our environment and how society should maybe behave as a whole. Some more marketing campaigns in 2010 and 2011. And by this time, the Leave No Trace campaign has been expanding internationally out to Canada, Ireland, and New Zealand. And today it's expanded even more. But where is Leave No Trace today? Well, it's a movie. It is a movie, so I'm thinking I'll just hit play, let you guys watch it, and I'll be back in a couple of hours. No, but I've actually never watched that movie. It seems like an interesting one about the outdoors. Check it out. Let me know what you think. But basically, if you give a little Google search, you will find tons and tons of resources. You'll find LNT, leavenotrace.org, which is the Center for Outdoor Ethics, as the first link at the top. And as you work your way down, you'll find REI, the National Park Service, and all these amazing resources where you can click them and they'll give you all the little tips that you guys want so that you can practice Leave No Trace when you go outside. But also, today we have COVID, we have a pandemic, and that has had a very big impact on Leave No Trace and our communities. So we see these headlines. National parks getting trashed during COVID. Rise of the rookie hikers, right? Because we have a lot of people that were going outside for the first time. And these people maybe don't necessarily respect the outdoors the way that we might want them to, or maybe they do respect it in their way, but their ethics actually clash with our ethics. And then in other cases, there's just so many of them that so many people exploring the outdoors for the first time that there's nothing you can really do. Thousands are crowding into 3 national parks, and workers are actually terrified, right? So there's a lack of respect to the people that are out there. Trouble on the trails, fire service grappled with the crowds, trash and human waste. We're not packing in and packing out, we're leaving behind. what we put out, what we bring with us. And then people aren't coming prepared. As hiking surges during the pandemic, so do injuries. Remember, we want to be prepared when we're ready to go outside and explore. So, putting pictures to the headline, this is Angel's Landing out in Zion National Park. You can see it's a very treacherous climb. People have died on this hike. There are these, I guess, banisters that you can hold on to. But on the steepest part, it is really a thin precipice that you can fall. So it's really important that we're respecting the people around us. And here on the right, you can see a lot of people really crowding. And then we have Grand Canyon National Park. This is people overlooking the rim. Just a stunning picture of really everyone packed together during the pandemic. And similar things were happening on the trails as well. Here you can see one park has trash so overloaded that it's overpacking the large dumpster outside of one of their restrooms. And that is not including all of the trash that was actually left out on the trails. So remember, we want to pack in and pack out. And then here's an instance of graffiti on a rock out in the canyons of California. People not respecting the environment and respecting the trails. We're leaving behind a mark. And then here's a picture of people parking, just so many people trying to explore for the first time. I know that I tried to go hiking up in upstate New York, and I saw similar scenarios like this. Cars just lining the roads, double parking happening as well. And that would happen as early as 9 or 10 a.m. So you can imagine that it would get even worse late into the day. Have people going to the beach. The beach is also an area that we have kind of impacted a lot. We've removed the dunes, we've littered, and we've really just kind of taken over what was once a important natural ecosystem. And then here we have the wildfires. So we saw that one of the important principles of Leave No Trace was managing fire and respecting the fire rules. And well, that doesn't really happen. Right here we have the Colorado Springs wildfire of 2016. This was human caused by a campfire. And of course, we all remember the awful wildfires of this past summer out in California, out in Colorado, and a year ago across the Amazon and across Australia. And they leave behind charred remains and barren landscapes. Not to mention they put our houses at risk as well. And we had the fire out in South Jersey over the past 3 days as well. And I really want to drive home that 97% of all wildfires are human caused, whether it's from arson, whether it's from equipment use, debris burning, or campfires. We are having a huge impact on what's happening. Now, this one was trying to relate a bit more to us. So I don't know about you guys, but I decided to go for walks around my neighborhood a lot, especially towards the beginning of the pandemic. I didn't capture any pictures, so this was the best I could find on the internet. But I remembered passing, 20, 30 people on my walk around my neighborhood, whereas on a normal day, there might be no one else out there except for me, or maybe 1 or 2 other people. So even around our suburban, urban environment, it is important to remember the impact that we can have and respect those around us. And I think finally, I think this is my last one, yes. I want to point out that I am not perfect either. This is a picture of a bear out in Lake Tahoe that I saw, and I definitely got too close to the bear, and there were a few other people out there with me. We definitely crowded. So it's always an important reminder that even the best of us can sometimes fail to follow the leave no trace principles to the best of our ability. I read an article maybe 6-7 months ago during the height of the new hikers going outside, and it really drove home the message of leave no trace. I tried to find it. I wanted to share it with you guys, and after an hour, I kind of gave up. But the message was that there was a park ranger who, for the past, sorry, that's my phone going right now. I'll pause for a moment. All right. So yeah, so the idea was that there's this park ranger who wrote this, and they have been going to their state park every day, every summer for the past 30 years. They know their trails well, and what they do is they act sort of as a friendly-faced and gentle police force, just kind of reminding people to respect their trails, remind them of the rules, help guide them if they get lost, and otherwise just kind of clean up the areas. And they get to hike every day, enjoy the park that they love so much while being paid. And over the past 20 or 30 years, every summer, they noticed this ranger noticed more people every day out on the trails. And this was a trend that grew over the summers. More people, the parking lot filled up faster and faster earlier in the day, earlier in the summer. And they noticed the impact that these people were having on their beloved park. They noticed the trail getting ever so wider with each passing day, with each passing summer. They noticed the amount of trash out and about increasing every square feet a little bit more every passing day, every passing summer. And of course, he would notice all the novice hikers, the ones that would go out there with their little bottle and expect to be fine for the full day hike. But then towards the end, he would get calls basically of those hikers panicking because they couldn't find their way, they didn't know how to get back to the parking lot, or they didn't have enough water. And so he then went on to recount that one specific day this summer during the pandemic, and he said that the parking lot filled earlier than ever before. He walked up the trail and he got yelled at by a few people that he saw on the way. They felt that he went up to them and he explained, pack in, pack out, stay on the trails, and he got yelled at. These people felt that they were being disrespected. They just wanted to enjoy their time out on the trail. So he was having a pretty bad day. He wasn't really enjoying his time out there. But his workday called for him to go to the summit. So he continued on marching up to the summit, and he had to get there actually really early in the morning, I think by 10. Along the way, he ran into some campers who had decided to camp directly on some biotic algae, and he could already see that the plants that were there were starting to die. So he tried to remind them, and again, he kind of got yelled at, but they quickly packed up and moved on. Then he got to the summit, and he found yet another group there. Now, this wasn't your typical novice group of beginners. This was actually, you could tell, an extremely well-traveled group. They had all their backpacking gear, they were extremely efficient, making their food and packing it all up. But they too were camping on a non-durable surface, and he was really frustrated. So he took a deep breath. He started to talk to them, just asking them how their night was, talking to them about what they ate. And he started to tell them about his journey up the mountain, telling them about all the people that were disrespecting. And these campers were just nodding along, saying, yeah, how dare these people who don't know better kind of leave their mark here and not respect the environment. They were full of a sort of superiority. They knew that they were better. They knew the rules of leave no trace. They were going to pack in, pack out. But the ranger kind of pushed on, and eventually he got to talking about camping and camping on durable surfaces. And little by little, he saw a kind of dawning of understanding arise on the faces of the people he was talking to. And those people sort of started to slouch a little bit, right? They slouched, but they also started to really quickly pack up, understanding that they shouldn't be where they were, and kind of get off the trail. And so the really drive home point was that even the best of us, we think that we know what we're doing. We always can find that we have areas for improvement. That story took a little bit longer than I expected to. So let's forge forward. Important to remember that we all complete our environment all these different ways. And we have the 7 principles, right? We have the 7 principles of leave no trace. They are what we see here: plan ahead, prepare, travel and camp on durable surfaces, dispose of waste properly, be considerate of others, leave what you find, minimize campfire, and respect wildlife. This is an example of a pamphlet that you might find created by the Outdoor Ethics, Leave No Trace nonprofit. And this is where I really wanted to get you guys involved. It looks like we have about 10, 15 minutes or so, right? Because we wanted to pack up a little bit early here.
Yes, please.
So I was hoping that you guys would go to this link once again. It seems like we didn't get too much of a response last time. Only about 3 of us were on there. I really am hoping for a lot of participation. So right now it looks like we have 6. We have 6 on here right now. So that's awesome. I'm going to reshare this to what I want to show you. And so what I want us to see is we have the slides here. What I had on the PowerPoint right now was a picture of me in one of my favorite outdoor places. That was Mount Cook out in New Zealand. I spent a good 4 days backpacking out there, and I spent 6 months out in New Zealand studying abroad. So easily one of my favorite locations on the entire planet. And really one of the most pristine places. But even there, you know, there's a lot of backpackers, and it's important to remember that we should leave no trace and protect our environment. So I'm hoping that maybe you guys will take a moment to think about your favorite outdoor place and what it means to you. And if you feel comfortable, go ahead and share either on the screen or feel free to speak up.
I'm thinking of Pyramid Mountain, where they have Tripod Rock, which is a glacial phenomenon.
Yeah,
And
the glacially deposited glacial erratics of Pyramid Mountain.
right, it's phenomenal. It's a nice hike up to it. And
Yeah,
then you
that is
see
an
that.
absolutely amazing place. Thank you for sharing, Susan.
Sure.
Does anyone else want to share or type it in?
If you look behind me in my background, that's the view from our back porch in Eagle Nest, New Mexico. I think that's a pretty gorgeous place right there, and I really like it a lot.
Really beautiful.
So It's pretty cool.
I go to Acadia every year, National Park.
Cool.
And I've been going for 20 years and I just love it. And I mean, there's beautiful places here too. There's beautiful, you can find beauty anywhere if you
Right.
really are looking for it. When I grew up in the Bronx, it was the New York Botanical Gardens, in my backyard. But when you mention this, I think of Maine because I don't get the opportunity to go except for once a year, and I just need that peace every time.
Yeah,
So
never been to Acadia, but I do want to get there.
Beautiful. You should absolutely go.
yeah, it is beautiful. Yes.
It looks like we
And,
have someone saying Patagonia. Another gorgeous. and
So many
stunning-
places. So little time, so many places to go.
So the next thing is, what if your favorite place was ruined? How would you feel?
I don't think I can say that on the Zoom meeting.
Devastated.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
absolutely devastated. Maybe use some choice vocabulary, not appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not only would we be really sad, but think about the entire environment, all the loss of the habitat and all of the amazing beauty to nature, right? So it can be really hard as well.
Yeah.
We'll jump on. So a big part of Leave No Trace is ethics, right? We all have our personal ethic, and that kind of commands how we approach Leave No Trace. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are ethics? What is your definition of ethics?
Um, Holly said, great presentation. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, totally understand.
She,
Be safe-
yeah. Be
be
safe.
and
Be
safe.
safe.
I
Be
put
safe.
moral code, but I meant moral code.
What
Yeah,
are
moral
ethics? I
code.
mean, that's like saying that's we can be here all afternoon, all night talking.
Yeah.
We're-
Right. Yeah.
I'm not
But,
looking for a dissertation.
We all know what it's not, right?
Yeah, well, I personally like to say that it's what you do when nobody is looking, right? So if
That's
your
good.
ethic is what you do when nobody is looking, and so it's kind of the deep down what you think is right. It's your moral code. That's exactly right. And as a society, we have a broad sense of a moral code, a broad sense of our ethics, but we definitely have a lot of disagreements, both large and small. So that can be true when it comes to Leave No Trace as well. Sometimes you have to prioritize. So part of what I want to do here is actually give us a few examples of, look, two different things that have to do with Leave No Trace, and we might all have different ways of approaching. So if you're on the link, you should be able to just quickly vote. If you're not on the link, I guess just kind of voice what you're thinking. Which situation disturbs you the most? Toilet paper flowering. So that's when you see the toilet paper up in the trees, kind of creating little flowers like that, or cigarette butts along the trail, kind of littering the entire way. Both important parts of Leave No Trace. Asking you to decide which one bothers you more. Got two answers for cigarette butt. Give you another moment. All right, we got, I think at this point we might only have 3 people participating. So we'll go with cigarette butt being the more disturbing one. And I was wondering maybe if you would share why you think that's the one that's more disturbing.
I don't know, they're both littering. They both bother me. They both make me angry that people are so lazy.
Yeah, that's a great point.
What do you think, dude?
I don't know. I'm guessing, I'm imagining, and I know he's gonna tell me I'm wrong, that one might be more, not recyclable, but like, right,
Biodegradable.
Decompose?
right, than the other, but I don't know if that's even
Yeah,
right.
that's totally fair. Totally fair.
Okay.
So here's another one.
You're
Footsteps
not gonna give
evident-
us, okay.
It's
That's it.
whatever we want, yeah.
Footsteps evident in crypto. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. This is
Oh, okay, all right.
our personal ethics, what we're thinking. They've got
Oh.
footsteps evident in cryptobiotic soil. So that's a soil that's super sensitive. Any disturbance will pretty much immediately kill it. And then we have
Yeah.
picking wildflower while hiking.
I'm thinking it's,
Yeah, I'm gonna be the
put
foot, I'm going with the footsteps myself.
yeah, me too. In
Yeah.
Maine, they have a lot of, they're trying to protect a lot of that's, well, I don't even
Yep.
know if it's called that, but soil.
Yeah, I mean, these are
On the
very
rocks.
similar as well, I think. They're both kind of saying don't disturb your habitat, but one is, making sure you stay on the durable trail, and the other one leaving what you find there. So two different
Yeah.
leave no trace principles
Yep.
happening in tandem. And so I've just got a series of these. If you want to quickly go through them, how tight are we on time?
We have literally like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm
Right.
sorry.
So I'll just quickly read through these. Names carved on trees, people getting close to wildlife for a photo, both very disturbing in different ways. Evidence
Yeah.
of wilderness trespass by motorized vehicles or
Oh.
human waste piled along a trail or riverway. Two very different things,
Yeah.
both hitting those leave no trace principles.
But they're both bad.
Yeah, but the garbage, like I feel, I'll just clean that up. Whereas
Well, this is actually human waste,
That's
oh.
not litter, human waste.
Oh, well, that's pretty.
This is litter
You
on the
go
side of
clean
the
that up,
trail.
Eva Marie.
This is multiple trails to a single meadow.
Yeah.
Bicyclists not yielding to hikers or people going off trail and switchback.
Yeah. Both.
Yes.
People feeding wildlife or soap bubbles in a lake.
Well, you always worry for
Cultural
those.
areas devoid of artifacts. So remember, we are all inhabiting Native American land currently.
Yes. Yes. Not really
Refuge,
mixing
food
that.
remains, and campground areas, both heavily impactful. And this is really just to kind of stimulate your thoughts. How are you impacting
Yeah.
the environment? And how can you utilize leave no trace down the road?
Pet waste everywhere. People are terrible.
So now I'll just quickly wrap it up for us. Back to the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you to those of you who participated. Let me make sure I get the right thing going.
There we go.
There we are. So next up, I did promise you that I'd say something about this. The main thing is practice leave no trace. Learn more about it if you want to get the nitty-gritty details. Spread the word. Make sure people know about it. Think about your ethics. So that's sort of the exercise that we're going through there at the end. And then most importantly, make sure you enjoy the outdoors. No sense in doing the leave no trace if you feel absolutely miserable. And then I just have a bunch of different resources here. You can see the major players, the Center for Outdoor Ethics, National Park Service, REI. And then you can see the Master Educator course that I was talking about, sponsored by Knowles, the Outdoor Something Society, and then the Leave No Trace as well. And then you can see a bunch of awesome links that are great to use.
Yeah, and you
I'm
Um,
happy to share those.
Yeah, if there's any, if you have like a handout or anything, you want to send it to my email, I'd be more than happy to
Yeah.
share it with everyone. That
Happy
would
to
be
do
great.
so. But I'll also say that all of these are, quick Google searches of Leave No Trace. As I said throughout the presentation, if you're looking for that information, it is extremely accessible without much hassle.
Cool.
Those are the different links of stuff I used throughout my presentation.
Oh, I
And
know, right? Wait. Okay.
what's going on?
Well,
No,
you know what? It's recorded, so we're gonna share
that's
it,
right.
right?
Yes, yes, that's
Okay.
true. Thank you, Judy. I keep
It'll
forgetting.
be on the website, the library website for a while, Brian,
That's
so we
correct.
can come
It'll
back and
be,
look at
yes,
it.
and it'll be on our YouTube page also. So I'm sorry, I forgot that. My apologies.
Yeah, it's
No
good.
worries at all. My sources, and with that, just want to say thank you. But I know we're
Well,
very
thank
short on
you.
time, but if you have questions,
I know.
always happy to take them,
And
or
then
you can reach me at my email below.
yes, and you're actually doing another one for us called Earth Day, Non-Points Pollution and Watershed.
Yeah, I'm doing that one for you guys. Where I'll be using a actual model of a watershed and going through different sources of pollution
Excellent.
and ways we can mitigate. I definitely suggest bringing your friends and family and kids. It's a very accessible presentation.
Very
And then I'll
innovative.
also be presenting on New Jersey geology and rivers. So
Oh,
talking
that's
about
right.
it,
You're on that one too.
I
Okay,
like
good.
that.
geologic history and how it impacts the rivers we have today.
Okay. Well, this was very good. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I have to like run out on you all.
Oh, good.
Thank
And
you.
there's a bunch more programs, so please go on our website and sign up. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
later.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Brian.
thanks, Brian.